Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us once again for our daily English news edition. As usual, I'm Daniel Cook, your host, presenting a translated version of the news, Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. Prime Minister Rama continues to defend the agreement between the Albanian government and the ČEZ company, saying that it was the only way to defend the country's finances from collapse. The Prime Minister made this statement at the 13th meeting of the energy community, in which he praised the help that they have given in resolving the ČEZ issue. Rama declared that the energy reform brought recovery to the sector, and the ČEZ agreement avoided a huge debt that the state budget could not afford. He commented, "We inherited an energy sector that was full of debt and on the verge of bankruptcy. The energy distribution company was in total collapse and in an open conflict with ČEZ. We avoided the conflict thanks to the energy community, which helped us out in a difficult moment. Albania was facing the threat of international arbitrage, and we managed to avoid this thanks to the energy community." The Prime Minister added that he is grateful to the energy community who gave support during a process of transformation. Also present at the meeting, the director of the Secretariat of the Energy Community, Mr. Kopats, stated that the agreement with ČEZ was resolved in a peaceful way and that it was the only way to help Albania on its path toward European integration. He said, "The Commissioner was trying to help both parties in this agreement to find a peaceful solution, and we are happy that we achieved that, because the conflict between Albania and ČEZ was holding Albania hostage. This peaceful solution was of great importance for the future of Albania, paving the way to progress and the modernization of the state, the rule of law, and the EU membership. What we can do now is congratulate the Albanian government for finding the courage to sign this agreement and to approve it in Parliament," said Kopats. The Minister of Energy, Damjan Gjiknuri, spoke as well, saying that all the debates on this issue have been caused by the accusations of politicians. Albania currently holds the presidency of the Council of Ministers in the energy community, and the 13th meeting was held in Tirana today to discuss the implementation of rules and European energy laws. Debtors to the energy distribution operator will now be able to pay their obligations in installments. The Monitoring Council has now adopted several mitigation packages to allow installment payments and to decrease the interest charges on late payments. The plan for families now includes a series of equal installments based upon the amount of money owed. In the case that a household pays off all of its obligations, any interest on late payments will be cut by 70%. For businesses, the late payment interest will be reduced based upon the amount of electricity that they consume. This is the first time that businesses have had the opportunity to decrease their interest by up to 50%. The energy distribution operator announces that this offer is valid until December 31st of this year. In a meeting today with students from the Tirana Law School, President Nishani criticized the justice reform once again, saying that it lacks transparency. Mr. Nishani continues to harshly criticize not only the content of the justice reform, but also the process that was followed in preparing it up to the final draft that was sent to the Venice Commission. The head of state reiterated his concern that the institution of the president was avoided and bypassed in this process. When asked by Ora News about the possibility of a referendum on the constitutional changes involved in the justice reform, the president did not exclude this possibility. He also criticized some of the proposals of the reform, such as the law on special courts and the removal of the Constitutional Court from the process of judging the reform. As the Venice Commission reviews the drafted constitutional changes in the justice reform, the opposition hopes that their proposals will be considered. The Democratic experts claim that their opinions are based upon the best practices followed by the Venice Commission over the last 5 years. The Democrats reject several proposals that are included in the document sent to the Venice Commission, which according to them are based upon political agendas. They do agree with a portion of the draft, though, and they say that this portion is easily identified because it was drafted using the suggestions of the international experts. The Democratic experts hope that the European Commission for Democracy will consider their suggestions because they are based upon the best practices of the Venice Commission. The document is currently under review by the Venice Commission, and an opinion is expected to be issued soon. The Democratic Party has requested a gathering of the Council of Mandates to discuss the Socialist MPs Ndoka and Frroku. An official request was sent to the Assembly by the Secretary General of the Democratic Party, Nishani, asking that the council be convened. The Socialist MP, Ndoka, resigned from his mandate 2 months ago, and the party has not asked for his replacement. The other MP in question, Frroku, is now in prison, accused of murder. The Democrats are saying that since Frroku has not attended the plenary session for 6 months now, the Constitution dictates that his mandate as an MP should be removed. The Albanian government is hoping to elevate the veterinary profession to new standards after the agricultural authorities raised the concern that there are 1,200 unlicensed veterinarians. With the creation of the Order of Veterinarians, the Minister of Agriculture, Edmond Panariti, says that vets will now have to practice their profession according to the law. The European Union will be one of the main partners in funding the agricultural sector, and the EU Ambassador Rama announced that the EU has established a fund of €71 million to help Albania. At the presentation of the reform, the EU ambassador said that agriculture and food safety will be at the center of their attention after the 5 priorities for integration. She said, "We will continue with our support. Let me assure you that after the 5 most important priorities, agriculture and food safety are the main priorities of the EU. For the next 4 years, the EU has designated €71 million to help Albania reach the objectives we are talking about today. All of this investment will be sustainable if you have the necessary capacities to manage it," said the EU ambassador. Around 800 women are diagnosed with breast cancer per year in Albania. The women of the country have not yet developed the culture of having periodic checks, and unfortunately, breast cancer is not often detected in its early stages. In order to increase the awareness of the public, a march against breast cancer was held today in the capital at the lake area. This was the 7th annual walk against breast cancer, and it was attended by the U.S. Ambassador Donald Liu, the Minister of Health Ilir Becaj, and Tirana's Mayor Erion Veliaj, who all took part in the march. The minister appealed to all the women in Albania to have periodic checks and mammograms, a service that is being offered free this month. The number of women being diagnosed with cancer in Albania is increasing and is now estimated to be 1 out of every 8 women. Thanks so much for choosing Aura News as your source for English updates. Please join us again tomorrow at the same time. Thanks, and have a great night.